Cauldron. But yes, this is our 5th Cackling Cauldron. And Jenny and I are here again with our guests, the SqueekySnake and LivanaGaming. Today we are going to be talking about Christmas horror movies.
I'm excited. This is like one of my favorite topics ever, and I'm glad that we finally get to just dish about all of our favorites and everything going on this year, because there's a lot of new ones.
There is a lot of new ones, which is actually really nice, because a lot of the Christmas horror genre is actually really old, like 70s, 80s.
70s, 80s, yeah.
Yeah. Like the only one from the 90s that I can think of is Jack Frost.
Yeah, and then after that, there's like some in the early 2000s that are all really bad.
Yes.
Quiet?
Yeah. Yesterday we watched a few. Snake and I watched a few yesterday. And I really love Christmas horror. I think kind of for the same reason that I really like exorcism movies and like possession movies that have to do with the Catholic Church. I like to see something that is so traditional, just completely fucked up. And just completely messed with, because people hold it so like sacredly and above, and it's just so great to see it ripped apart. It's honestly my favorite thing about the holiday season is Christmas horror movies. So like last year with my community, we watched probably like 2 weeks straight. We watched every single one we could get our hands on, and it was a great time.
Same thing. Community last year, we definitely had our movie night of the month was Black Christmas, and we all watched that together. Really,
I'm so sad. I definitely didn't get to watch that one.
No, we're gonna talk about it a bunch, but I think it's a classic. We'll have to maybe watch it again, maybe next week or something after the Cackling Cauldron. We'll put Black Christmas on or something like that.
That would be great.
The original or the remake? Because
The
I watched the
original.
remake.
Original. I haven't seen the remake either.
I haven't seen the remake yet either. I thought it was on Shudder Canada, and I went to go watch it. I was like, oh no, this is the old one.
Oh, it's on Shudder? Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, it is. It's on Shudder.
Yeah.
Dang it. Okay.
Well, now you have the chance to watch it. So,
By the way, we are not affiliated with Shudder in any way.
just love them.
We just love them so much.
I'm just saying, if anyone from Shudder is out there and wants to like set us up with some keys to give people discounts or anything, let us know. Singing your praises, but Christmas horror movies for me are the same thing. I love them because the rest of Christmas is just, I hate it, and it gives me one thing to look forward to. Is like every year I'm like, oh yeah, it's time to break out the Christmas classics, and it's like, okay, we're gonna watch Gremlins, we're gonna watch Black Christmas, and I'm not big on like the Charlie Brown and stuff like that. How about you guys, Snake and Liv? Any reason why you like Christmas horror in particular?
I'm actually still pretty new to it. I didn't realize it was too big of a thing, so I didn't actually know that I'd watched any horror movies. But then when Black Christmas was mentioned, I was like, all right, that thing I scrubbed from my memory. It was bad. Like, it touched on a couple of things that made my skin crawl right the hell off. It would have turned into cookies. Let's put it that way. Gross.
Christmas cookies.
Not these. No. It still makes me nauseous thinking about it, but I watch them and they do have a charm to them. An unusual charm.
Well, I just like horror movies in general. Like anything horror, anything that scares me, which is just in general doesn't really scare me anymore. Like, you know, we've got The Exorcist. As a kid, that scared the crap out of me. Now it's like, why did I get scared?
I laughed my butt off when I saw The Exorcist for the first time, and that's when my parents, my grandparents were kind of like, okay.
This child.
Yeah. We've all been there. Okay.
I enacted The Exorcist once, had too much to eat one night, and my mom had to help me clean up.
Which part did you reenact?
Were you going backwards down the stairs, or just...
That is like my favorite part, is the upside down spider down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, I
How did
love
she
it.
do that without breaking herself, honestly? Like, did they have a harness or something? Did they have it backwards?
That's an interesting... Hold on.
Because I'm pretty sure I'd accidentally murder myself. It's for acting.
Back to back to the Christmas aspect then. So yeah, I there's, and the thing is with the Christmas ones, like, it sort of spans. Like, there's the comedies, and then there's like the old school, like 70s, like really, like, especially watching them now, it's kind of like, ooh, that's a little bit.
They could push the envelope a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more
than they can now.
Which I think pushes them to be more creative now with how they scare you.
Yeah, I'd agree to that. Let's put it this way: I couldn't look Santa in the eye today, and I went to buy a nutcracker, and I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't. Like, it has changed how I look at those characters forever.
Oh my goodness! Oh no.
Well, like, what was it that the first one that we'd watched was Jack Frost. Jack Frost. The second one was Evil Christmas or something like that.
Yeah,
Christmas Evil.
Yeah,
it was the 1980 one, and that one like had tones that made my skin crawl. It was like the Santa was very friendly with those children, very like sitting there watching the children all the time, and I was like, actually, I never really thought of that. Is that the like Santa is always watching the kids? Are you naughty or nice? I know what you're doing. It's like, oh, that never clicked when I was a kid. It's like I was always just like, I better be good. Now it's like, why are you watching those children?
Okay, so on that note, I'm just going to get real quick into a couple of themes that I've noticed throughout different Christmas horror movies. That way people in the chat and you guys can keep them in mind while we're talking about the individual movies that we've watched this year, and just kind of see if any of those kind of come up for analysis or anything like that. So first one I noticed a lot in Christmas horror movies is they take place in winter. This is something I see a lot because I like Canadian horror movies a lot, and I tend to really analyze the Canadian horror films. Is that when it's a winter movie, it's usually mostly about isolation. It's people who are stuck inside either because of the weather or because there's some sort of killer or something keeping them within the building. And then family dysfunction. So a family falling apart, that may play into the fact that they are all stuck inside together, can't really get out. And so they're kind of like picking each other apart, and stuff starts to fall apart more and more. And then the other side of things, so that's like usually your more serious Christmas horror movie will take those roles. The more humorous ones and the black comedies are usually Santa is in it, Krampus is in it, there are elves. That's basically it. Here's like some things that have to do with Christmas, and they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
So it's usually one or the other. I haven't really found anything that is in between or really stands out as something super different.
That's for sure, definitely true. They are a little repetitive-ish, but I mean, they are all, differently done, though.
Yeah, and repetition in this case isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's familiar. So it feels like once you've watched one of them, you can kind of get comfy and feel a little bit more comfortable watching them. Which is weird to say for a horror movie, but I think that's the kind of the point, is that even though we like horror movies, closer to the holidays, you still want something that's easy. You don't want to be like really uncomfortable or anything like that, so they usually have a lot of things that we always notice, tropes that are very familiar.
But yeah, that's definitely with the older ones. They stick to the sort of the same thing, I think, for me. And I'm gonna say it right now. For me, like, Jack Frost is my favorite one. Because
I haven't seen that one.
Oh dear goodness.
Yeah.
So I exposed Snake to the atrocity that is this movie last night. And it is terrible, but it is a terrible movie done so well. The puns are bad. Like, they put your bad jokes to shame. There is, for a warning, there is kind of a sexual scene. But the bathtub.
No, I remember that.
Okay,
I was just thinking
okay.
One by itself that didn't actually have sex, because I noticed that with I was taking notes.
Yeah.
The one that didn't have it was the 1981.
Yes. Yeah. But I just mean for Jack Frost, I'm saying, like, if anyone's going to go watch this, I would I put very light trigger warning for sexual assault on it.
Mm.
But that's it's really loose because this movie is basically it's this serial killer or murderer or crazy psychopathic person or something that's on his way in an armored car, and it crashes into another truck, and toxic secret chemicals melt him into the snow, and he becomes and his name is Jack Frost, and he becomes a killer snowman.
Oh my god.
Okay, I swear to God, you will laugh your butt off through this movie, though.
It's so bad.
That kind of reminds me.
Stuff to watch.
That kind of reminds me of the Ginger Dead Man with Gary Busey in it.
Oh
no! Basically, he dies. So Gary Busey dies, and his ashes go to like this gingerbread making factory like during the holidays, and they make this huge cookie. It's a gingerbread man, and he ends up killing a bunch of people. It's
How have I not heard about this? This is really funny because I play Killing Floor 2, and so does Snake, and Gary Busey is the voice of Evil Santa for the Santa event.
Ginger Dead Man?
Yeah,
I know. I'm writing this down as well.
It's
so bad.
Of them, I think.
It's
one of
so
them is called
bad.
Ginger Dead Man versus the Evil Bong.
Yes, that's the one I haven't seen. That's the one I haven't seen.
That's the only one I have seen.
This is so great. This is so great. But yeah, and to not spoil the rest of Jack Frost, and you do have to. Jack Frost, I believe, came out the year before the Jack Frost movie with Michael Keaton in it, where it's the family one.
Oh yeah, because I remember when I was little, we wanted to rent a movie around Christmas time, and my mom was like, Jack Frost, and then we found it, and it was at the video store, and it was the wrong one.
Yeah, this one has like Elizabeth Shannon in it. And what did she do in the 90s but take her clothes off?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, good on her.
Right.
Good on her. But yeah, so that she does the exact same thing in this one.
Okay, so it seems like we're starting off with all the funny ones, and then we'll probably get to the more serious as the night goes on. Next runner-up, I would say, is Santa's Sleigh. I didn't even watch the whole thing. I started it, Fran Drescher was in it. I watched
haven't
about 6
seen this
minutes
one yet.
and I quit.
Wow, that's it.
Like, I just don't have time for bad movies if they're gonna be, like, medium bad. And there were some parts that seemed like really, really bad, but I would say for that one, like, watch it once. I watched it when I was younger, but in my rewatches this year, in the past week, I've been sick, so I've been at home, and all I did was watch Christmas horror movies and, like, too many episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race. But I couldn't get all the way through Santa's Sleigh, so I watched, like, the little favorite bits and pieces. But in this one, it's basically Goldberg, the wrestler, is saying Santa is the Antichrist, and he has been punished for, I can't remember what it was. It was like he lost a game with God or something like that, and was sent to have like centuries of delivering presents to kids as his punishment. And he loses it on this super rich family at the very beginning of the movie, and it's just ridiculous. Like, he comes through the chimney, but he like bursts through the chimney, like wrestling style, pushes the bricks out of the way, like the Kool-Aid Man. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch it now just to
not
compare it to Jack Frost and really kind of see like on the level, because like Jack Frost, they're obviously trying to be bad.
There's no way they're not, because otherwise I was having such difficulty focusing, because I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I could not stop typing at you. Like, what the heck?
I know.
What is going on?
Yeah, it's definitely there is a sequel to it as well. Not very good.
Oh, I remember you saying
just kind of boring, to be honest.
Okay.
So yeah, that was disappointing. Yeah. I remember I got super excited when I found out, and Corey, who's one of my mods here and a really good friend, we watched it together for the first time. And like last night, I told him, I was like, "We're watching this." He's like, "I'm there." But yeah, we watched the second one. It just was kind of boring. So
yeah, if a bad movie isn't hitting like that accidental humor of being a bad movie, I find it's not it's not a good bad movie. It's gotta be a bad movie. Like with jokes. You got bad jokes and you got bad jokes.
Yeah.
It's gotta be bad jokes. Does anyone else have any comedic movies or anything that you saw this year? Stuff that made you laugh a little bit? Or
Mrs. Claus.
Not with the Christmas ones.
This one is students attending a Christmas party at a sorority house with a sinister past are stalked by a bloodthirsty killer disguised as Mrs. Claus. Just to give you the synopsis, it got a 7.6 on IMDb.
That's what's new from this year, right?
Yes, that one is this year. 86 minutes.
That's perfect, because you don't want them to be too long.
No, you really don't. Then they start dragging. And I find that with a lot of the older ones, that kind of happens. You're just kind of like, can you get to the killing?
Yeah, that was the issue with the...
I had a hard time with.
Yeah. The Christmas Evil took a while for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it got to a point where it's like, this is just... It's leaving a bad taste in my mouth.
I'm going to be honest. In a Christmas Evil, I just kind of tuned out a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I was looking forward to that one because that was one that John Waters was like, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of the best comedies, one of the best dark comedies. And I've been looking forward to it, but it's a little slow, I guess.
I'm me, and I'm always doing 8 million things at once. So, I mean, it didn't have my full attention to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be like, but like there wasn't anything really happening on the screen that was bringing me in to be like, you need to pay attention.
Okay, go ahead.
I had watched it and it kept my attention because I was trying to take notes for, talking about it. But when I was watching it, I remember getting to a point where it's like, I feel my skin trying to crawl off me. It was horror in the way that you can see something is unsettling. It's like the under level, sub level unnerving. Something's wrong, but you can't quite pinpoint it, and then it becomes a very big problem really quick. So it's like, it kept me going for a little while where I was able to watch it, but simultaneously, it made my skin crawl because I couldn't quite figure out what they were going for. They gave him this like really creepy, he had an entire list of good boys versus bad, good boys and girls versus bad boys and girls. And he wanted to be more Santa than elf. I noticed that. So they were going for a bunch of different things all at once, it felt like. And then afterward, it finally snapped. I think they made a point of that. Was that the one with the terrible sound effects?
Yes. My God.
That was distracting as hell, too.
At one point, he pulled out like a switchblade or something, and it went like, that is what I remember most. Oh, and the
sound effects are terrible.
That's what I remember most from this whole movie.
Must watch now.
That was Christmas Evil.
Evil.
Yeah,
it was 1980.
Yeah, that's what stuck with me from that movie. The sound.
And to extrapolate on what you had said earlier, Miss Jenny, with the why they have this overarching, winter, and then they're inside and isolated. I think it's because people expect you to go do Christmas things with your family. They expect you to go do your family stuff. So if you are not heard from for a little while, nobody's going to bother you because, you're just hanging out with your family and friends.
Yeah, that's true.
Time you'll come back later. Mm-hmm. So nobody checks on you. And it's like, help won't come in time. Oh, no. So
I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I had another one that I think is kind of similar to Christmas Evil, where I kind of zoned out for a little bit, and I didn't have the best time with it, but I was really trying because it was like one of the Christmas classics that I'm seeing all these lists. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
That's the one I wanted to talk to next. That one?
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah.
That one is... I feel like it had the capacity to be really good, but just... Maybe it was just because it's so old, the original one?
I guess to me it felt like it was trying really hard to hit all these tropes of like a slasher movie post Halloween. So this is about a little boy who witnesses a really traumatic murder, and I will put trigger warning again for sexual assault on this one. He witnesses something happen when he is younger, perpetrated by someone in a Santa costume. And he's later put in an orphanage, and over time, it seems like he's trying to sort of like get over this, and his PTSD is going away a little bit until he gets a job at a toy store near Christmas time. And when they need him to step up into the role of Santa Claus, all hell breaks loose. I had some real issues with this one because it felt like there were so many murders because you're being quote unquote punished for your sexuality or things because he was raised with a nun. That it was like so staunch and religious, and it was just trying to like, well, if you do X, you're gonna die. If you do Y, you're gonna die.
Especially with the orphanage being like run by a church.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he was growing up, they were reinforcing, you know, bad boys get punished. And he was told, and that's something that he heard during his traumatic event. So, you know, there's definitely a lot of good versus bad. You're gonna die if you do anything remotely bad, especially sexually bad.
Yeah, which is one of my least favorite tropes in horror movies, is that if you have sex, you are going to die. Do not have sex under any circumstances. Oh, just so many.
Jason, then.
Oh, like literally every slasher movie. Yeah.
That's bad, okay?
Yeah, but that drives me crazy, and it was so overdone in this movie to the point where someone who was a victim of sexual assault was also someone that he deemed like unworthy and therefore should have to die. And I was like, this is just the worst. And the rest of the movie, I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like if they kind of took that idea and redid it without those overtones and judgmental bullshit things, I think it could be a really good newer movie if they tried to do that.
Like punishing them for things that are actual transgressions. Like if you took that and combined it with kind of a Christmas Carol type of thing.
Kill the sexual assault person. If you really need to have that in there, can we do that for once?
You know, all of these sins, I think if you combine that with a Christmas Carol where it's like you don't want to, you know, be too worried about money or greed or things like that are actual problems around Christmas time.
Yes.
Then that would be better. I would love to see a remake or something like that just changes it up and makes it more modern.
Yeah.
Or turns it around somehow.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if either of you guys have seen that movie.
No, but talking about it reminded me of Christmas Evil, where I do remember there was this scene where they got hot and heavy, and the reason I forgot about it was because I was too preoccupied with the shoes on the couch, and it upset me. I was like, why are there shoes on the couch? Get them off. But there is they started making out and stuff like that, and it triggered and Mr. Protagonist or antagonist, whatever the heck he is, his PTSD, his flashbacks, because I guess mommy and daddy had issues or something like that when he was a kid.
Of course.
So there was something sexual. It was not just PG-13, give or take.
Okay. Anyone else? Feel free to shout out any other ones that you've seen. Like, I
want to just veer off the horror. Well, it's family horror. And talk about Gremlins for a moment.
Yes, please.
Because we have to. The immediate, in the back of my brain's going, Die Hard, Die Hard, Die Hard, Die Hard. I'm like, it's not a horror movie.
It's an action movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
There. It's done. It's settled. It's a Christmas movie.
No, that's fine. It could be a Christmas action movie, but it's not a Christmas horror movie.
But yeah,
true.
It's but Gremlins is a classic, and well, not horror, scary horror. It's what I call family horror.
Yeah, it is family horror, but I actually have pulled up some excerpts from the original script by Joe Dante, who is the director of Piranhas, which is another great horror movie, that this could have been a much, much scarier movie. And
I've heard this before, yeah.
So it would have been rated R, and before even doing the filming for some of these scenes, they just axed it and were like, no, we want this to be PG. So it would have been PG-13 in today's standards, but it's PG now. Let me just pull this up real quick and tell you guys about some of the things they were going to do. So, for starters, Barney the dog would have died.
That makes it rated R to start with. You're killing the dogs. You're bad. It's bad people.
You monster.
Okay, let me go here. So, the creatures surround Barney. They have killed the dog. Billy tries to move. He's frozen. Creatures are eating the dog. They woke up at Billy. Their bright green eyes are fiery. Blood covers their mouths. They smile. They giggle. Billy screams. I read that and I was just like, yes. Can we get a remake, please, where Gremlins is actually just like...
Aren't they talking about doing like another one or something?
I would love that.
I feel like there's something that's floating around in my head that I've seen on the in the interwebs. I will have to look into that more and make a note of it. I don't know. They talk about remaking everything or adding to everything these days, so it's hard to keep track of what's actually true and what's not true.
What's a remake? What's a reboot? What is they just talking about? You know, which ones they said they'd like to do but aren't actually happening. But yeah, they were actually going to kill Billy's mom in the original one and have her head like roll down the stairs when he opens the door and land in front of the Christmas tree. There were so many things that they planned on doing and they didn't. But luckily they left in that scene where the girl monologues about her dad trying to be Santa and coming down the fireplace. And I think that the fact that they left that in was like just enough that it would like be a little messed up to watch it with your kids, and maybe they won't get it the first time around, but then as you watch it more, it'll like be a good introduction to horror. So that one's one of my favorites.
So it's the Sap says that Chris Columbus is making rebooting Gremlins.
Ooh. No.
Yeah, so I'm 100% down in it.
I mean, even if people are over, I say get weird.
Yeah.
Weirder.
Get weirder.
I do have a Christmas tree to set up. I should have set it up for tonight. It's not very big, but the pine needles on it are all like metallic green, but they have, and the lights are very yellow, so when you turn it on it looks like it's green and toxic, and I love it. I love it so much.
Jack Frost lives there.
it got the chemical goo from Jack Frost, but oh my god, I love that emote, Livana.
I took notes on that damn movie, I will have you know. Had referenced abuse, the various tropes, ridiculous deaths, in true horror fashion. There was sex. Music is obnoxious. More a joke than serious. Ridiculous science. I edited that expletive. Antifreeze. No.
Blow dryers.
Blow dryers. Antifreeze. Like,
it's so good, though. It's so good.
Like, they tried to fill the whole thing with chemical down that hallway or something like that and get it really thick so that they could light a match and burn him. Why didn't they just take the match or a lighter or something like that and use it like a flamethrower? That would have been more effective than a blow dryer. It was just, I was so distracted.
Oh yeah, the science was terrible behind it. It was absolutely horrific.
No, it's just literally people who are like, you know what would be fun? Let's do whatever.
Basically, that's what that movie is, which is why I adore it so much.
I saw the carrot in the bathtub and I was like, I couldn't help but make a joke internally. I think I made one in the chat.
That line when he's done and he puts his carrot back in his face.
It was frustrating. And then I guess the boy toy or whatever, because that's clearly what that was going on there, is ended up with a couple icicles. That didn't end out too well. So it's like, it just felt like he's out of the way now. I can have a good time. It's like, I knew as soon as she got in the bathtub, I knew where that was going. I'm like,
let's move it forward to a couple of newer-ish ones. One I know that everyone probably wants to talk about is Krampus.
I didn't rewatch that this year, but
I haven't rewatched it yet either. I do remember watching it last year though, because I watched it for the first time last year, and I was like, "Oh, this seems really good." And then the freaking gingerbread men came out.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Kind of ruins everything.
It ruined everything. It was good horror, and then there's these freaking animated like gingerbread men coming out at you, and it's like, are you...
I remember that reminding me a little bit of like Evil Dead 2, though, which is a nice nod.
Yeah, but it just felt like it was just like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't really feel compelled to rewatch it this year. Like, it didn't wow me. And everyone was talking so highly of it before
I know, it's such a
actually
favorite.
came out.
What I love is A Christmas Horror Story, which is kind of a
so
showdown.
tell me about that.
It's kind of a showdown between Santa Claus and Krampus.
I wanted to see that.
And it's got this amazing plot twist reveal at the end, so I can't really talk about it too much other than it's like a Santa Krampus showdown kind of movie. And there's a family involved, and the grandmother's like, oh, Krampus sort of thing, right?
Oh, I did watch this.
And it's just like, it blows my mind every time I watch the ending.
Okay,
It's
well,
so
that one's definitely
good.
on my list because you talked about it the other day.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I've never
I will
seen
watch that one 100 times over Krampus any day of the week. I
And
absolutely
this
will.
is
A Christmas
an
Horror
anthology,
Story.
correct?
No,
William
it's not.
Shatner?
It's just one solid movie.
Yeah,
Christmas Horror Story.
2015.
Okay,
Yeah.
then which one am I thinking of?
Are
Was
you thinking of Holidays?
No, not Holidays.
Okay.
Although I didn't really care for the Christmas segment.
I didn't
in
really
that
care
one.
for the Christmas segment in that
Seth
one either.
Green is not a very good person, nor is anyone in it really. So I didn't feel like, if I don't like anybody in a horror movie, what's the point?
Right? It did, or any movie,
Like, I even liked Paris Hilton in House of Wax remake, and that made it better. But if you don't like anybody at all, then there's nothing to really relate to or emote. And like, when bad things are happening to people, if it's just bad things happening to bad people, I don't care.
Right.
I want some sort of like connection to somebody.
You want to
some
feel
reason
bad that something bad is happening to them.
I want to feel bad, or I want to have like a bit of hope for the
Yeah.
ending, and especially in a Christmas-related horror
Yeah.
movie, give me a little bit of hope that maybe things will turn out okay. Because like,
Well, then you really need to watch A
it.
Christmas Horror Story because that ending is just
Okay, I'm gonna have to
so
see
good.
and think which one I was thinking about. That had William Shatner.
that is that one.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
got William
But there was
Shatner
like a
in it.
wraparound, right?
And George Buza, I don't know how to say his last name.
Oh,
Buza.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
not an anthology. It's one. William Shatner's kind of like the narrator of the whole the whole storyline and what's going on.
Because when I read wraparound, I automatically assumed that it was an anthology.
No.
Oh,
It kind of he kind of narrates through the what's going on, and then the ending happens, and you're like, whoa.
But
Writing that
you
one
saying
down.
for hope reminded me of Better Watch Out.
Okay, yes. I wanna
So
talk about this
good.
one.
So good. You're
Wait,
so
I
mad.
got
So
it.
angry.
So
I got
this-
so mad.
I'm just gonna say
I
really
got
quickly.
mad.
Better
I
Watch
quit
Out
watching it really early.
is
though.
a newer one last year. Year before
2017.
2017, yeah, last year. And it is one where I can, and without giving away anything or anything like that, like there's no Santa Claus killer or Krampus killer or weird snowman that's been mutated was the human killer.
Yeah.
I'm
But this one
remembering
does
that.
have the isolation and the family dysfunction. I would say that a lot of horror
Yes.
movies have. Yeah, I absolutely love this one.
Yeah, so
it had
good.
a twist to it that I don't want to ruin for anybody. But I would say that this is like, if you took Home Alone and made it an actual horror movie, that's what this would be. Like, setting weird traps, home invasion stuff.
The fact that they
it's
reference Home
pretty
Alone in it
disgusting.
too, like straight
They
up reference it.
Oh, wow.
But I'm gonna be honest, that didn't look like it. It looked like condiments.
It did.
That was
I
distracting to
agree.
me.
I was like, oh, kind of want a hot dog now. Yeah.
And I was eating a sub while I was doing that too, so I was like, it's like, oh no, I don't want to eat
If
this.
anyone's seen this movie, you'll know exactly,
Yeah,
or if you
exactly
end
what
up
we're talking
watching
about
this
here.
movie, at some point, you'll know the scene because you'll see it and you'll be like, yeah, hot dogs.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I thought it was really smart. Like, the more I
Yeah.
thought about it, the more I wanted to rewatch it. And I thought I was going to hate it at first because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But I was excited that Patrick Warburton was in it. He was only in it for like
Yes.
2 seconds.
I know.
Yeah,
What
but
a
still.
bummer. But it was still a lot of fun. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this is really smart. Like, they took a lot of the movies that came before it, like Black Christmas and Home Alone, and they made something really smart and original. That, well, like, you might watch it at first and be like, this is stupid. This is just like, they're taking so many tropes and it's not, smart enough. And then by the end of it, you're going to be like, holy crap, I love it.
What just happened?
I'm gonna say that there is a character in there that I hated so much because he reminds me of someone that I know, and it was just like,
Was that the best friend?
no, I love the best friend.
Okay.
No, there's a character who is a younger boy that had like such an attitude problem that he reminded me of my brother a little bit, and I was just like, I hate you. And then the more I watched it, it got better and better. But it had this like, I think the moral of the story in this one is that you shouldn't be like maybe we were all like this as a kid, maybe only some people were, but being ungrateful about the things that you get and the things that you have and always wanting more. And then when you don't get what you want, just having like a total temper tantrum about it. It reminded me of a kid on Christmas Day not getting an Xbox and throwing a tantrum. And it
With
made
murder.
Yes.
The whole thing was about mommy issues.
Oh, it literally was, yeah.
Absolutely was.
I don't want to spoil
literally.
anything, but it had a lot of the same tropes as a lot of Christmas horror movies did, but it did it in a really smart way. I think a lot of horror movies recently, like in the last 2-3 years, have been doing that, where it's like, let's turn things around, let's pull a Leslie Vernon on this and make it about the tropes and try to break those down a little bit. So if you're looking for a smart horror movie, give this one a shot. Don't quit halfway through like I almost did. Wait until the end.
I agree though. At the very beginning I was like, really? Is this what this is gonna be about? And then at the end I was like, wow. Yeah. And then I was really another emotion at the very, very end. And yeah, that one definitely tugs on your emotional strings, but you gotta give it a chance to pull you in, because it will for sure.
And it was a surprise hit. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I just looked at it, like the characters, the look of it, the aesthetic. I was like, this is gonna be bad, but it was really good.
I mean, I was originally very. I got to a point my blood boiled, and I decided, okay, I'm just gonna see where it goes. And I actually did find myself tunnel visioned, so I did enjoy it at least. But that was mostly because I was like, how's this gonna go? Please?
I couldn't look away. Yeah, it was like watching a car wreck. It was amazing.
Yeah, and also too, when Snake and I were talking during watching it last night, the thing was, I think it was part of the reason it was so scary is because it's actually so freaking plausible and believable, because white male privilege.
Yeah, it was what were we watching the other day where I was wait, no, I can't remember what it was.
Oh no!
Oh wait, we were watching Mandy.
Oh yeah, again.
Well, the Nicolas
and we got
Cage
to a point where we were just like, no, I hate dudes. Get out of here. But it was too realistic, yeah.
That's why I think the horror, I think that's why it hooked me in, because the other ones, it's like, okay, if you set it up just right, this is how you get the scenario. This one was in a situation where it felt like, this could absolutely happen, and that's terrifying.
It probably has happened in some kind of way, shape, or form. And
I don't want to think about it.
That's true. Okay, so I have one more. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Rare Exports: A Christmas Story.
That's the one I was meaning to watch, and I've been so excited for it, and I haven't watched it yet. We were talking
write
about
that one on your watch list.
Yeah,
I'll give this one it's called Rare Exports: A Christmas Story. So there's actually a short film that they did that you can find on YouTube, I believe, or at least last time I checked it was on YouTube. It is a Finnish movie. Started out as a little short and then got expanded into a full-on movie. I can't remember. I think it was like 2008, if I'm correct. But it, without spoiling too much, is basically that children are going missing, and these people who own a reindeer farm where they slaughter reindeer are sent out to try to figure out what's going on and capture the thing that's doing all the killing or the capturing. So they're looking for Santa Claus. And when they think they're going to find Santa, they actually end up finding something quite different. And they're trying to capture it so that they can export it to other country, these little creatures. And it goes absolutely crazy from there. I don't want to really spoil much, but I think it's worth watching, or at least watch the short and see if you like that before watching the whole thing. And then I think they did a sequel to it as well, which
oh wow,
yeah,
I believe they did as well. I'm just taking a peek through here at see if I can pull anything out of my brain that we watched last year because we watched so many, and my memory is terrible. I think we watched Mother Krampus. I do remember watching that one.
There's a Mother Krampus?
There's a Mother Krampus. It's got a 3.8 on IMDb.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And it's from 2017. And what does it just say here? I remember thinking it was probably not the greatest when we were watching. Yeah, based on the myth of Frau Perkta, a witch that comes on the 12 days of Christmas, taking the children each night. I don't remember too much, but I really wish Corey was here and chat with me because he has better memory than I do. Are you going to post a list? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can 100% do that.
Yeah, because usually I'll post like some photos and things. If you guys haven't already, twitter.com/Cackling Cauldron. I can't type it in the chat because I'll get banned. But there is no O in the end of Cauldron.
Okay.
Give us a follow on there if you guys want updates, and I'll post like pictures and things that we've talked about throughout the chat on there for people to take a look at later on.
Yep. So I just want to go back to Livana for a second. Is there any other Christmas horror movies that you've watched recently that you'd like to bring up and chat about?
The only one that I've really watched, and I only watch like my whole thing is bad horror movies. I love to watch bad horror movies.
That's fair.
So, yeah, but because I end up making a drinking game out of them. It's about the only way I can get through them. But sometimes you find that gem. But no, not recently. That's why I'm like, I've written down almost everyone you guys have talked about.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize it was that big of a thing, so I'm glad I'm on here. But yeah, the main one that I watched was The Ginger Dead Man with Gary Busey, and
that is gonna have to be a soon go-to for me. I've got to see this.
It's just I don't
your face.
Know why. I don't even know why we watched it, but it became I think we got it on Hulu, and then we were like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another. So we ended up watching 3 of them, and we couldn't do the bong one. It was so late at night. So, I mean, but that was but that one and the other one, Mrs. Claus, it was okay. I think the whole college teenage thing, you know, the whole thing has kind of been overused.
Well, like the college kids go into a haunted place and then they all start dying.
Why don't you run out the door instead of upstairs or something like that? It really irritates me.
Because there'd be no plot.
Because the movie'd be over.
Yeah, but I would Mrs. Claus is if you want to watch something. It's hard for me to make a synopsis on any movie. That's kind of why I read it out. But other than that, no. And I would definitely watch A Christmas Horror Story over again. I have it sitting up here so I can watch it because it says Unhappy Holidays on Shudder, and I'm like, oh, I watched that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones on Shudder this year.
Yeah. Have you guys watched Black Sabbath? It's under the Unhappy Holidays.
We watched that last year.
Okay, is that one that you watched last year?
Yes. Hold on. Let me just pull it up, see if I can jog my memory.
That is
another. Okay,
1963.
Ooh.
Yeah, 1963. Mark Damon, Jacqueline Perrault,
yes,
Michelle
Boris Karloff.
Yep.
Wow, I have not seen that.
Yeah, I believe it's like a bunch of short stories. Yeah, it's an anthology film. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I got 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I do remember that was one of the first ones we watched actually last year, I believe. So there's 3 movies in it. Oh my god, I remember the telephone one. Yeah, it was Strange Phone Calls. And also there's another. No, I think that is that a women's apartment. There was one. I feel there was a Christmas horror movie I watched, and it was at a sorority house, but it was done in the 60s or 70s, so it was so weird and strange. I'm trying to.
Do we want to segue to College Kids Sorority House Black Christmas?
Yes.
Okay. Also, are we planning on running a little late today? Because I know we started.
Yeah. We can, I say an hour to an hour and a half base started.
Sweet.
That's our
Sounds good.
average time.
A
All right,
sorority
so-
house Black Christmas or a sorority house / Black Christmas?
Oh, I was just talking about sorority houses as a segue into talking about Black Christmas. You guys saw the remake. I hope that still happens in a sorority house.
No, I haven't seen the remake.
Okay, I've seen the original. Galaxy's seen the original. You two have seen the remake. This is going to be a good conversation then, because we can kind of compare and contrast. I refuse to watch the remake.
Ooh, deja vu.
Fan of the original. I think this is probably one of my favorite horror movies, if not my favorite horror movie of all time. And it just happens to be a Christmas one, but I fell in love with it in the first place because it's Canadian. Or at least it was paid for by Canadian taxpayer money. Filmed in Toronto.
My tax is paid for this.
And directed by a dude from Florida who was also the director of A Christmas Story. The You'll Shoot Your Eye Out one.
I have never seen A Christmas Story.
Watch it. Compare and contrast.
There's a kid that really wants a gun in a pink rabbit suit. It never appealed to me.
No, that's fine. It's not for everybody. I don't often watch it, but I like thinking of the fact that that's like such a wholesome, everybody watches this at Christmas time movie, and then on the other hand, you've got also he directed Black Christmas, which is arguably one of the first slashers. So for anyone who is unaware or hasn't watched the movie, it is about a group of girls who are living in a sorority house. They're staying there over Christmas
This is
break
the movie
and
I was
start to
talking about. Wow, brain.
Okay, that's wow.
Took me a
and they
minute.
get obscene phone calls from someone. People start to go missing, and they have to try to figure out what's happening and if there's a connection between that and the phone calls. And you guys have seen the remake. Does that ring a bell, or did they change everything?
No, that sounds pretty familiar, actually. That helped trigger the movie back again.
Okay.
I remembered two things from the movie, but that sounds really spot on.
So I'm going to put it out there that the character Jess in the original 1974 Black Christmas is the most badass character in any horror movie that I've ever watched in my life, because this is arguably the first slasher movie as we know it. So like, a bunch of teens or college kids are in a house and there's a killer that has turned into so many movies since then. It was part of the inspiration for Halloween. But what I like about this is that it was before all of the tropes started. So when Halloween came out, it turned everything into this like final girl must be this perfect virgin. I would never do anything wrong. But in this one, the character Jess is she's a regular college student. She has sex. She has a boyfriend. Guess what? She got pregnant and she wants an abortion. And the fact that they let the character who is totally fine with having sex also be completely telling her boyfriend, I don't care what you think, I'm getting an abortion, and then also be the badass final girl character was such a moment for me. Like I go back and rewatch that and I want to write like papers on feminism and the final girl, just all about Black Christmas, because it's my complete favorite.
Yeah, I do remember when I did watch it last year, because I haven't watched it this year yet, I don't think. I have been putting movies in the rabbit room, but I've got so much going on, so I've been like, getting up, doing stuff. I'm like, okay, here's one, put it on. I may have put it on, but I remember thinking it was a bit of a slow start, and I was kind of like, but it just ends up getting so good. And it just kind of, like you're saying, it just throws the whole sort of weak female and antagonist that saves everyone just under the bus.
Yeah. Well, and like, she's a strong character. She knows what she wants, and it's like, it's the 70s, so it's all about liberation and everything like that. But the fact that she's also emotional, she's sensitive, she really cares about her friends, and like the way that the delivery comes out with that one, I think it's Olivia Hussey as an actress. She seems like this absolute bleeding heart. Like, I believe how worried she is. She seems so concerned. She's got this like beautiful thing she does with her eyebrows where she's like worried all the time, and I'm like, I'm so in love with this movie. But the killer, you don't really know much about him. They do a really good job of not showing his face. They show a tiny little sliver of him once, but it's all killer's point of view, stalking these people through the house. So it's not overdone. And there's these phone calls, and I think the phone calls are the worst part because I've never heard anything so disturbing.
Yeah, the phone calls were...
They're well done. There's like heavy breathing, screeching and growling and guttural.
Yeah, it's
gross,
really
like,
creepy, and to the
noises.
point where when it first started, I was like, is this going to be really bad? Or is it actually going to, you know, turn into something that is actually functioning? Because, I mean, seeing it as for the first time last year for a 70s movie and stuff like that, you have that whole thing, like, the way things had to be done with the effects and, you know, everything like that. You know, we have to translate that in our head to, you know, how things are today and everything like that. But yeah, they are absolutely terrifyingly disturbing.
They're vulgar. Like, some of the worst I've ever heard is said in those.
Yeah.
But they give little hints about the character of Billy. But you guys who have seen the remake, they really expand upon that lore, from what I've understood. Is that correct? If you can remember. If not, that's totally fine.
That is the one thing I remember.
Okay, because I think that's Billy. Like pretty much what they did with the remake was make it about Billy instead of it being about Jess, which is why I don't care to watch it, but I'd love to know your thoughts on it.
I can't see. This is my terrible. I can't talk about movies. I can watch them and make fun of them.
Okay, well, but is it a bad movie? Is it worth making fun of?
Oh, yes. Every movie's worth making fun of. But this one especially, I just remember making fun of the cookie.
Hearing a lot of that.
Flesh cookie.
Oh, is that?
I'll probably never.
That was the other thing.
I'll probably never ever eat another cookie.
Yeah, I see gingerbread cookies. I'm like, pass.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm just gonna go.
Kind of advice. Watch Black Xmas. Yeah, it's a good one.
The other thing was with the expanding on the story, I will give a warning that they touch on the topic of incest.
Yeah, because I know in the original, there's like conversations about like, we should have never left him alone with Agnes. And then it's like, who is Agnes? I don't know, but I guess.
Well, they show it this time.
Oh,
they
no,
show it.
Well, from what I remember, doesn't the mom try to have
It's bad
with her son?
It's
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah, and then
that's just shocking because like I don't know. I feel like they did everything wrong in that case, and I say this not having actually seen the movie, but taking something so subtle like the original Black
and just shoving it right in your face, literally.
Yeah, like
kind of.
Or have it on the phone would be one thing. Like to explain that, I figured they would do it like, hey, we're explaining it through the phone calls.
I heard that the phone calls kind of took a back seat.
Wow.
In the new one,
that's like the whole point.
Crawl spaces and things like that are what I remember. And I remember everything being really dark. Some moonlight scenes, stuff like that. But crawl spaces, attic, that kind of thing. Because it's either the attic or the basement. And that's what we're afraid of for whatever reason. So it's like everything else is just run space. So, I remember those. I don't remember a lot of phone calls, and then I remember it getting to a point where they start to give some backstory, and you actually feel pity. You actually feel a little pity for the killer, from what I remember. And except for also I was like, well, that's nice. I feel for you, but I'm gonna go now. I have to vomit.
Yeah. And he's also jaundiced too.
Yeah, I saw the jaundice.
Yeah.
So there was something horribly wrong.
But I do remember everyone being very, very, very excited for the remake and then kind of let down. I do remember that feeling.
As soon as I heard about it, was just instantly like,
No.
I've held to that so far, but that was 2004.
Yeah, it's not like a real recent, like the last couple
No,
years.
it was in that terrible span of like a
Film.
couple years in the early 2000s where it was just everything was
black it out.
not great. Yeah.
I really did though. Like you had to tell me what the movie was for me to try to remember anything else about it. I forgot there were sororities in it, or the sorority. I
Which
forgot
is,
there
like,
were
one of
girls.
the
That's the setting of the whole movie.
I know. All I remembered was the incest and the cookies. That was all I remembered of that movie.
Yes.
That's pretty bad. I think I'm gonna stick to not watching that one. But
I
the
kind of
actor
need to
who-
watch it just because I'm that person.
Good luck.
Have fun. I mean, maybe I'll watch it again if I'm feeling like I ate something bad. I can get it out of my system.
So that is, I guess, where we've talked about the best and the worst at the same time. Is there anything you guys are looking forward to for horror movies, Christmas horror movies that are coming out soon, or maybe have just come out today?
The creatures are stirring!
I'm really excited about All the Creatures Are Stirring.
Okay, so All the
on
Creatures Are
Shudder.
Stirring just came available on Shudder today. But I didn't know, because everyone has been hyping up All the Creatures Are Stirring so much, is I had no idea about this movie called Christmas Presents that was coming out as well today.
I didn't see that one either, except for their tweet on the...
Yeah, exactly.
Christmas
I've heard
presents.
nothing about that. A group of friends gather for the holiday season in a remote lodge, but plans go awry when someone goes missing and the truth is disclosed.
So this is a ghost story of some kind. I'm gonna
I
assume.
believe so, which I like, because I mean, other than like the Christmas Carol, like A Christmas Carol, there's not really a lot of ghost or haunting Christmas horror movies.
Yeah, that's true.
And talking about that, and I mean, I guess that Mrs. Krampus or whatever that was, one that I mentioned, there's not a lot of like witch ones either, or sort of stuff like that. So I'd like to see them. I know I'm probably getting ahead of the conversation here, but I'd like to see the Christmas horror genre expand out into the other like areas, so that it's not just a Santa killing everyone or Krampus or crazy snowman, you know?
Yeah, slightly off topic, but we'll go back to being on topic after the other one that I remembered that I love, which is not really a... I guess it would be considered more of an isolation movie, but definitely not a family movie, really, and not a Santa killer movie, is Inside. It's a French film about a woman who is pregnant. Her husband's passed away, so she's alone on Christmas, and she's just totally fine with that because she's had enough. And someone breaks into her house to try to steal her baby.
I think I read. I think I've seen that one on one of the.
Because it doesn't have like
services.
a lot of your traditional Christmas movie type things to it.
Yeah.
It's just
It just occurs over Christmas
home
time.
invasion movie, but it happens at Christmas time, and
That makes it a Christmas movie according to Die Hard rules.
Yeah, if we're gonna go by Die Hard rules, it's a Christmas movie, but it's got some of the most uncomfortable, disgusting things that I've ever seen.
Ooh.
If any of you have watched French horror movies or you're into French horror movies, you know that they're like really into making you as uncomfortable as possible and being as realistic as possible. So it's a lot of close-up and really personal stuff that goes down in that movie, sometimes involving a knitting needle. Which I'll say 10 out of 10. I love this movie.
And the name of it is?
It is
Inside.
called Inside. It's French, so I find it on Lanterniere instead. But don't watch the remake. Watch the French one, not the English one, because I don't know why they remake things in English.
Yeah.
just
So okay. So that's probably the one that I saw was the English one. Then I mean, I actually haven't watched it, but I was like, ooh, maybe I should watch that. But
watch the French
good
one
to
for
know.
sure.
Good to know.
From what I understand, there's parts that are like just straight up lifted shot for shot from the original, and then it's just English instead. But I did really like the French one, so I would say watch that instead if you're down with subtitles. It's really
I can read
I almost
fast.
said it's really fun, but it's the opposite of that. It's really disturbing.
And circling back to All the Creatures Are Stirring, I'm going to say now, if anyone is interested, I will be showing it in the Rabbit Room after this.
Yes, and that is an anthology movie. It is directed by Rebecca McKendry and her husband. Rebecca was pregnant, 9 months pregnant, while directing this movie. And I'm really excited to see how it turned out. Starring Morgan Peter Brown, one of my favorite actors. Really good dude. And Constance Wu, who is fantastic.
Constance Wu is amazing.
Got my
What
heart.
you're saying is, with her being 9 months pregnant, we're actually going to get horror from this.
Yes, and so I was listening to Shockwave's podcast last week. And she was on it because she's one of the hosts of it, talking about her movie. And the ideas that she had, because they were just throwing out like any stories that could possibly be shot really low budget and really fast. And she was like, I wanted to do one where a nun gets pregnant and is being attacked and ends up giving birth on Christmas, and it'd be like an analogy with Jesus and blah, blah, blah. But I think I only wanted to do that because I was pregnant and angry and wanted to be that nun killing people in self-defense. I was like, yes.
There was a New Hampshire law. I know this is an aside, but there's a New Hampshire law at one point which allowed pregnant women to murder people. It was
theoretically, yeah. None of that happened. It was just like, if they wanted to look for a loophole for why they killed someone, they could have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. It was like a messed up anti-abortion law.
It's like, sorry, you're glowing.
Okay, and then real quick, another one I'm looking forward to is Anna and the Apocalypse.
That was the other one that's on my list. That's from last year.
It's just been at festival.
Really? I thought it was from last year. And I
just heard about people seeing it in October. September, October, I think. But festivals were
oh my god, it's actually playing at the Vic Theater here.
Ooh, go see it.
Yeah,
this is basically Shaun of the Dead, but a musical.
And Christmas?
Yeah. Nice. It's a Christmas zombie.
I want to see this.
Yeah.
And the last one that I'm looking forward to is Sleigh Bells, which, just to make a quick announcement here, Sleigh, S-L-A-Y, Bells, B-E-L-L-E-S, is about 3 cosplayers getting revenge and running into some mess while they are on the road. But we are making an announcement that we have a screener of that we have been given so that we can do a review of it. So we're going to be coming up with our first Cackling Cauldron review. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be putting up that closer to Christmas just so that we can keep you guys fueled with lots and lots of content while the holidays are going on, because I know everyone's busy. So we'll put up a video.
Yeah, we'll do a offline recorded one and then have it scheduled to play during the holidays.
And then if we can be here and talk and chat with you guys, we will definitely do that. Anything
do that horrific thing I hate and watch myself.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch ourselves. You should always watch your VODs.
I never do. I can't. I cringe too much.
I do
them.
what?
I cringe so much. Unless there's like specific points, which I like the markers for now, because they can be like, dang, right? Or I'm just like, clip it, and I'll watch my clips. I've seen it.
But you don't want to watch 3 hours of yourself playing video games.
No.
I feel narcissistic. I'm like, okay. I look in the mirror. I see this. That's fine.
Yeah, but I'm definitely hyped for Sleigh Bells. Super grateful that they've graced us with a screener for that.
And given us a chance. Like, we're so new to this. We're only on our 5th episode, and have that happen, and then we had some people contact us about possible guest spots and stuff like that. It was like mind-blowing. I want to thank everybody for being so supportive. Again, follow us on Twitter. We got lots of stuff planned, but we're just heading into the end of the year this year, so things are going to get busy for a bit, and then next year we're going to just completely kick it into overdrive and kick out.
Yeah, exactly. Super excited. I will touch on next week. Next week's the Sabrina again. We're back to Sabrina.
If anyone was here for our original Sabrina episode, we're going to touch back on that.
Yeah, we tried to dance so hard around it without giving away anything. So this is your final warning. You have a week to watch it and talk about it with us. Plus the Christmas episode
have the Christmas episode coming up, and they've announced a 2nd season, so we've got lots to talk about in terms of Sabrina stuff.
We'll finish that up.
That sounds good. I might need to call you in if someone can't make it. We'll be like, hey,
come back.
I'll finish it up probably tomorrow.
Yeah,
because I don't stream till tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing another quick sort of rewatch and freshening up the brain over the next week.
And that's about it. So I'll be posting on the Cackling Cauldron Twitter a list of movies that we've talked about today, just so people have something that it can, throw on in the background during all of your family Christmas.
Of course.
Christmas movies, Christmas parties, whatever. Yeah. I thought I had a real good thing going there.
It happens. But I want to say thank you to our guests tonight. It was so wonderful to have you both here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for hanging out with all of us tonight. I had a great time discussing this because it was one of my favorite things, and I cannot wait just to I'll probably gonna watch Jack Frost 10 times this month. I'm not gonna even lie. I've watched it in the middle of the summer. I'm like, it's time. I need to see this.
Galaxy.
You'll never look at a carrot the same way again.
No, I won't.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you again, you guys. Thank you, everybody in chat, for hanging out tonight. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, and again, please make sure you go give the Twitter a follow. And I put in the links of all of our guests tonight, as well as Jenny, since this is technically my channel. For now, this is where we are. And yeah, I go make sure you give these lovely ladies a follow. And the Rabbit link is there for anyone who wants to come join us for a movie, and I will be posting in my Discord as well as on Twitter the link if anyone would like to come watch all the creatures we're stirring. I'm looking forward to seeing that and seeing what everyone has to say about it. All right, anything else? Are we good?